With less than 2 weeks to go for AAP's ambitious anti-pollution drive, the odd-even plan to come into effect, we spoke to the top 3 police commissioners on the challenges the police will face in its implementation. Here's an excerpt from Newsroom with Rahul Kanwal.
Before I get you a big interview with the police commissioners of 3 of India's biggest cities, I want to take you through the blueprint of the Delhi government's plan to implement the odd-even scheme. Remember, they've been working on notifying the final blueprint. India today has been able to access details about what the Kejriwal government intends to do. Let me take you through it. 6,000 civil defense volunteers and home guards will be deployed on the streets of the capital to help the Delhi traffic police. Apart from this, single women and women driving in a carpool will be exempted from the odd-even scheme. Ambulances and all other emergency vehicles will also have an exemption. Carpool lanes are being mulled, like is the case in foreign countries. It may not happen immediately, but this is something the government is very seriously thinking about. Now, there's some concern about vehicles coming in from Noida, from Gurgaon. Well, the blueprint reveals that UP and Haryana cars may be exempted from the odd-even scheme because the Delhi government feels it has no jurisdiction over cars coming in from other countries. Apart from this, schools will be shut between the 1st of January and the 15th of January. Remember, they opened towards the 2nd week of January, but this year they'll be shut for an extra week to ensure that all those 6,000 odd school buses are used to bolster the public transport system. Apart from this, 10,000 new licenses will be given for autos for the last mile connectivity. This will go up to 20,000 in the months to come, but in this period 10,000 extra licenses will be given in. Special tariff for Ola and Uber cars to enable carpooling. So all taxi services will have a special tariff if people are pooling in that car. So far this is not allowed, but this is something the government is thinking about very seriously. Let me now get you a big interview with the Mumbai police commissioners of Delhi, Bengaluru and Mumbai, where I sit down with them and ask them about the challenges of dealing with the problem of pollution and whether or not this odd-even number scheme can be implemented in other cities and the chances of it succeeding in Delhi. These are the men who will be responsible for implementing this scheme. Let's listen very carefully to what they have to say. Joining us on India Today now are 3 police commissioners of 3 of India's biggest cities. The police commissioners of Mumbai, Delhi and Bengaluru. Welcome, gentlemen. It's very rarely that we have an opportunity to have 3 big police commissioners from 3 of India's biggest cities with us. So it's great to have you. Arvind Kejriwal's radical plan for Delhi, where at least for the first 15 days of January, the Aam Aadmi Party government is hoping to have odd number cars on one day and even number cars on the other. Now, I've heard one statement that you made to the public earlier where you said you haven't seen the policy yet, Mr. Basi. But as far as the question and the principle is concerned, as the law enforcer of the national capital, what do you, police commissioner, think about the feasibility of such an idea, sir?
See, as far as my reply again will be what I have said earlier. You see, we have been associated now with this process. We have been attending the meetings, and my understanding, as per the feedback given to me, is that the policy is being formed up. There have been a number of media reports, as the government also has invited suggestions from the public. So once the policy is formed up, then I think it will be right for me.
I understand that the nuances are still being worked out. My question to you, Commissioner, is as far as the idea of trying to fight pollution is concerned, as far as the idea of ensuring that half the cars don't operate on one day and half the cars operate the next day, what do you think of that idea?
You see, I will not like to go into this because I am going to be the person who is going to enforce this on the street. So I will await the action plan, and once the I will await the policy. Once the policy is framed, then I will take my take.
But do you think this is tough?
Meanwhile,
because
if you talk in terms of principle, I personally feel clean air is a fundamental right. It is an inalienable fundamental right of every human being. So as far as that part is concerned, when you are talking in terms of pollution,
But is this a big
and clean air.
implementation challenge? Because I was reading somewhere that you've got 2100 citizens for every traffic policeman. Now that's a big lopsided kind of ratio.
see, once the policy is decided, then perhaps I will, I'll give you
Can
my
you
take.
implement it or not, do you think so?
See, there is nothing.
don't know what to
nothing is
implement.
impossible in the world.
Nothing
I
is
know only
so
this.
it can be implemented.
No,
Okay?
no, I'm not. I'm saying I will give you my action plan only after the policy is decided by the government. You see, because what I have read in the media, it is going to have a lot of exemptions. For instance, the public transport is exempted. I read somewhere that the army is exempted. I read somewhere that the women are going to be exempt. I read somewhere that it is going to be between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And maybe by the time the policy is formed up, and then, you know, the situation which I understand today will be totally different. So as far as I'm concerned, in principle, I feel clean air, clean water, clean environment, sustainable development is the fundamental right, is an inalienable
And the Delhi
human
police
right.
will do what it can to help the
So
Delhi government
as a
achieve that.
person, this is what my belief is.
Bengaluru Police Commissioner, I want to ask you, Mr. Mekrik, what do you think? Because Bengaluru has amongst the worst traffic problems in the country, probably even worse than the national capital. Is this an idea, do you believe, should be implemented in Bengaluru as well?
I think the Bangalore traffic is a different, game, altogether different game. We have serious challenges on this strategic side. The infrastructure is not there. The roads are not that wide as we see in Delhi and even in Mumbai and all that. Bangalore has a different. It's not question of.
Do you believe that this is an idea? It's been implemented in Bogota, New Mexico, several other
Those
cities.
cities have different mechanism. I was in the State Transport Corporation for 2 years. I know this plan, Bogota plan and all that. The BMTC, we had the thought 10 years back. It is not possible for us to implement.
Why not?
It is because there is no road space. There is no road space. There are only few areas where the BMTC, the local transport corporation, is trying. So except that, we don't have scope for anything.
You think odd and even won't work in
Absolutely,
Bengaluru?
absolutely.
He's talking of the BRT corridor.
No, I know. I'm saying, will the odd and even number plan work in Bengaluru?
That is, we'll have to see what the Delhi experience is. I
No,
think.
but do you believe you can do it in
We
Bengaluru?
will not be able to do that.
Why not?
We will not be able to do that.
Why not?
Because the enforcement is too challenging.
In what way?
Technology wise, and the human element behind the enforcement is too difficult.
No, but in what way technologically is it difficult to implement?
I mean, we can't post one constable each for a vehicle. We have lanes, by lanes, not main roads. Where will you do
So
that?
where all do you make people stand? You don't have enough constables to do it.
No. I mean, how all will enforce that? How will we enforce it? We have to go to the defaulters. We have to. We cannot go and each and every lane and.
Do you
catch
think
them.
it's a recipe for
I
disaster?
think. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, Mr. Mumbai Police Commissioner. Let's ask you, Mr. Javed. What do you think?
I think on another level, we are looking at the symptomatic way of tackling things. The causative, I think, somewhere we lose the sight of. I have a take on it. The intention is clear that we want a clean environment. We need clear air, clean, clear air, which I agree with Ms. Bassi, is an inalienable right. The causative part is the number of vehicles which get introduced to the new vehicles get introduced to the roads on a daily basis. For example, in Mumbai, we are talking about more than 300 vehicles getting onto the road. I personally think one of the causes of obviously this pollution is the number of vehicles, unchecked number of vehicles which come onto the, however much they may be abiding or adhering to the norms laid down by the law. Why can't we have a situation, why can't we look at something which is succeeded elsewhere in the world, that the taxation policy for the second vehicle you buy, the third vehicle you buy
Is much higher.
is much higher, so it's a deterrent. So A. Number two, is there a space for you to park it in? And therefore what will happen is, it's easy to go in for the symptomatic thing, maybe for a little while, and may or may not work.
No, but will this work? If it were to be, if Devendra Fadnavis were to tell you or your successor, let's try and do odd even in Mumbai, can you make it happen?
See, we'll have to, I agree with Mr. Bassi entirely. First of all, we have to see what exactly this odd and even implies at the end of the day by way
No,
of
because
policy.
we just heard from the Bengaluru police commissioner
Yeah.
that it's impossible to have so many constables guarding every lane
I am
by lane.
responding to what you've asked me regarding Mumbai. So
Yes.
we have to have, if we have X number of exemptions, you got X number of provisos in it, the number of vehicles would look different than what we look at it right now. So pure statistics today will show you X number, minuses, the provisos and exemptions, it may look different, number one. Number two, I still would say that time is high time, and I'm going back to it, that we should look at it from the causative point of view. We really need to look at it seriously, because if not today, it'll be a problem in the years to come for maybe all the big cities in India. And therefore, this kind of a taxation policy as to how to curb or reduce the number of vehicles if they're not required. I know, and I'm sure you also know, there are families, there are maybe 3 members in the family where they've got 4 or 5 cars in Delhi, in Mumbai. So somewhere we have to look at it at a larger, more holistic pattern, rather than look at it maybe just to solve a problem for a little short of while.
Very interesting answers there. Thank you very much. It's been very fascinating having all 3 of you from 3 different perspectives come in together and share your thoughts with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will shift tracks. We'll just move on from all the political news from the national capital, and let's just talk about a college in Delhi, SRCC. It's a noted college.
So, guys, do you know why he's Kukkara Kamalda? Because he's a Delhi boy.